So next up, we have got our Strawberry Creek Walk poets. If you didn't take the Strawberry Creek Walk yourself, you're going to get a little taste of it right now.
Great. Thank you, everyone. My name is Michaelyn Logue from Santa Cruz, currently living in Grass Valley. And this first poem is called Corporate Responsibility Pledge. Remand the body precedents. Legislated personhood determines against itself, Frankenstein meaning, procedure making, naked. Empire roars, chastises sagging skin, questioners of efficacy, lauds practitioners daily, prescriptions of distortion, stripping and dedicated to the bottom line. I consecrate demise in the name of capitalism, late-stage, unchecked escapism, new car, greenwash, strip-mined battery, eco-conscious, wish-cycling, corruption flattery. Sparks fly from the all-consumerism. Teeth gnash the loneliness, spirit hole-filling prophecy, commercial confess your interest, and while the revolution may not be, how much of lived is spent in television. Empty-hearted tin man, electroplated, 3D printed, plaster Paris obscures armature, the scaffolding hides secrets, until burden-bound the form collapses, revealing underhanded revelers of disparity. Corporation, given the rights of name, through whose counsel money folds clean sheets, may the homunculus of personhood redeem us through cooperation, the mimetic impulse of flesh be tender. I pledge allegiance to humanity and the humility contained in grace, to uplift, defend, and resource all families from mountain pine to tardigrade, forest fern curling, aggregate fog promises. May I, as corporate body, permitted to speak freely, find that I too will remember the many that make me and incite them to live fully. Cool. Thank you. All right, one more for you all. This piece is called TIL Neoliberalism. TIL is shorthand on the internet for Today I Learned. This is both true and untrue. As a concept I've been mucking about, a muddied process contextualizing the environment. The fish will be the last to discover water. How do you notice what you're born into? When do you think about what is thinking to you? How normalized is the topic of nothingness, so nothing is? The first time it floats into my awareness, I'm 21, sitting in a cafe on Ashbury. Hate is just a crossroads and a state of mind. There is a blue canvas with 3 heads, white-haired white men. There's a giant spoon one of the heads is floating in. I recognize McCain, mouth open. Eat your neocons in white and yellow neon. I don't really understand, childlike in simplicity, whatever the opposite of conservative is, must be the good guys. I imagine myself a baby in a high chair, strapped in with no agency, waiting passive and in patient trust of the feeding hand. I forget, neo is many-minded, modified yet unoriginal. I watch and notice the housing bubble, the stock market, nothing only gets worse. Or maybe the first time was when I skipped gym, stood amongst my peers and enacted demonstration, felt my burgeoning convictions, claimed my place amongst rebels and rabble-rousers for a beautiful woman, yes, and a heartfelt declaration, the smallness feeling inside me finding its humanity. I do not consent. I protest the war and the actions of my government enacted on my behalf, radical and violent, buoyed on nationalism's swelling ego. The flag of the New World Conqueror plasters itself, defacing itself. My parents are disappointed. They do not see the irony. Welcome to the party where no one is fraught with majority. The disenfranchised performatively cast about, ballot in hand, claiming ignorance, slurping and sputtering the drivel against the immigrant, the indigent, the indigenous. The mud we've been slogging through deepens and thick with excrement. What do you do when a country is born on the backs of stolen labor? The shifting sands of a breaking wave forever tossing us back as grist to the slaughter, churning the fodder of our bodies in the mill of capitalism. The daydreamers of Rockwellian simplicity pick yourself up by your bootstraps, Teflon-plated conveniences and commodities, forging links of nuclear family, sister, brother, baby, mother, father, shell-shocked. We don't talk about it. The assembly line from worker to grave, pipeline to prison, pipe dream that we were ever fighting for freedom, the minority dissociated through profit, robbing us the golden bonds of community. Men died, Lady Liberty on their lips, her idealism born in the name of freedom, the freedom to keep making money. I wonder, would George Washington, whose wooden teeth were made from the teeth of his enslaved, consider himself a Democrat or a Republican? And does it matter?
Hello, my name is Lara Gularte. I'm the El Dorado County Poet Laureate Emeritus, and I live on the western slope of the Sierra Nevada foothills. I'm going to read 3 poems. Hope you like them. The first one is called The Old Woman's Last Days. The people stop on the rocky hilltop, look out at the world, watch it wane. The land drained of color, of life, the hills gray. Below them, the rust-stained valley, the smell of spilled oil lingers in the air. The brown snaking river, the only thing to follow. The old woman leads their way, walking days of weary distances towards the mountains. They don't hear the footsteps behind them or see human faces forming from the granite rock. Scattered by the fright of a sudden movement, a flock of birds fly off. The people make camp, build a fire. The old woman gathers fistfuls of twigs, throws her arms into the fossil moon. She stamps the ground, makes small cracks appear. Her long white hair floats as she turns and spins, blurring the world around her. She needs to believe in a place beyond her mind, what her heart finds when she closes her eyes. Inside her skull, oceans, continents, forests, and plains. Men in camouflage hunt the people down. They say the old woman is a deer. They eat her. A nicer poem. Under the wing of a waterfall. The river in a rush pulls her among leaping salmon, churn of silt and dark memories, her struggles, her surrenders. A force flows below the surface. Whirlpools inside herself bubble up, become the air she breathes. She wants to start her life over. One deep breath shakes an angel awake to guide her. The river washes her with mercy, her sins forgivable. The rushing, the resurrection, from under the waterfall she rises. My last poem is about my ancestors who live pioneers in Northern California in the Siskiyous. And it's called Saving Myself. My ancestors are stones of the river. They sparkle, their quartz veins glisten in granite. I wade carefully, feeling with bare feet, smooth-skinned stones. A muskrat swims by me, slick-backed, fur shining. Braced against current and slippery bank, I lose my step, fall into the cold stream. A water sprite travels through 100 years to swim through my bones. Minnows scatter, I drink the river. Deer breathe hard in the shadows, spirits in the pines chant in the wind, and an old scaly fish beats up from the bottom, then sinks back down again. I rise from the current, find shallow water, and sit among the stones. In a mountain pool where a trout darts, I bless my reflection. Thank you.
All right, hello Berkeley. I'm Dave Setter from Petaluma, by way of Chicago, by way of Wilmington, Delaware. I'm going to read two. Acid Oasis. Summer heat in October, and yet the surface of this pond is sheet-locked solid, iced over by chemical precipitate. Seeming like an oasis to a migratory flock overhead, mallard, cinnamon teal, canvasback duck. The blue-green surface tempts their descent, the goal, rest, and the hunt for what food can be found beneath surfaces. But no, there is no food in an acid oasis. Will this flock be surprised, like some I've seen? Will they try to abort landing, skid to a stop, or slip through the thinnest layers? In the broken spaces of our broken intentions, will they dip into liquid strangely thick, unlike any water these migratory fowl have found before? So inescapable, a juvenile mallard is nearly sucked under, or finally is sucked under after a struggle, feathers gripped by the gelatinous stew, unable to fly away, weighted down until dead. Maybe this is the one dead bird the consultant scoffed about at the public meeting, intending to suggest even when it comes to science, one is the loneliest number, meaningless by itself. More birds fly over than die, but when one does die, the dawn patrol fishes the dead bird out of this acid oasis. Dead birds are shipped on dry ice to Fish and Wildlife Service for autopsy. Maybe it was just that bird's time to go, the consultant doubles down. And while it's true some birds may suffer underlying illness, the scent and thin glass of this acid oasis deter me from taking the plunge on a dare or for a $1,000 bet or a consulting fee. $1 million maybe, now you're talking, but still I say no. One is enough death, and one too many for today. And I'll finish with a poem called Dragonfly. It shows human nature in a slightly better light. Dragonfly. Faceless, we wander these trails until we see another like us, or not like us, another living thing with fractal eyes. Face to face on the trail, another human face quietly interrupts the day so full of mechanical thinking. Face to face with another hiker, my world opens on a hinge. A dragonfly in her palm barely flickers light from its iridescent wings. Is hospice possible for a too slow dragonfly in winter? She goes on, I go on. We all go on living as long as we can. With light touch we carry the faceless, the weightless. In this season of the urgent dragonfly seeking a meal, whatever can be found on acorn, midair, or on skin, the lucky in all this world are those handed gently into the next. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chris Olander. I'm from Nevada City. We're going to try something here with some music and some poems. This is called Commuting. August griddle strip swelters plastic. Metal cars backed up 5 miles. Fumes withering the landscape. Fallout levels the playing field. Caltrans workers spray poisoned off-ramp road rage murder scene. A rearview mirror tailgater mouthing his syllable wisdom at me. Out of sight, out of mind, man. I'm busy suffering my own pleasures. The metal monster driver shifts reality, jerks off his lane to right in front of me. Brakes. I'm out of there, too fast for rear-end scammers, blowing trash, devil wind whirls up against chain link fencing, new toxic zone housing, the dead cars, broken dreams, scattering plastic further. Try to escape up the country road, domestication's creeping over hills, overgrazing sellout parcels, habitat loss, species extinctions, high-grading what's left. Gentry newages, too young to know the difference, stuck in scientific method. Fear, anger, frustration hardens nerves, coming, going, sensory overload. Don't look. Too much population to carry home. Tossed in the freeway carnage. Who cares? Get the gun. Beautiful lives. Poet dancers. The girl. The boy you knew from school. The dead deer on the roadside bloating. Apathetic. What drug relieves hating this world into its death? Feeding malignancy in our bodies. Smothering lies with grief. Who issues checks for tears? Do something! At home, in the August white heat, by rock patios, live oak shades, the distant anger ripples over the pine ridge, the driving force. Pay the bills, complete the commute contract. The metal air stifles the pines as curled tips. Colors the distant beast roar bronze. What hope in evening's meltdown. But under the cicada-licked live oak leaves, like a breeze through a California woman's hair, rising through the manzanita's palette, silvering leaves of mountain mahogany, the toyon's bright green tarnishing light, splintering the live oak's resilient flesh, moving among the branching sprays, the fluttering wings of bush-tit arpeggio weavings in angelic arias, and the evening angels massaging our senses between the ripples of leaves. We are alive here in the garden's pleasure. What we create in the breath of the leaves is release, gleaning dis-ease from our senses in our communion of needs. What we love, we receive in our garden, in each other, renewing the gift, the body, for tomorrow's work. Okay, I'm going to do another poem here, and this is dedicated to the dancers of the Watershed. My wife, who passed away a year ago in August, was danced here 3 different times. We also had Patricia Bullitt. You can check out her costumes over here. She was a paper artist, and she did dances in her costumes. And this is also for Sharon Coleman and for Joyce as well. This is called Bleeding Amber for Castilleja. The dancer has left us all. Autumn breezes swept her away, rippling into the forest curtains among the earth's immaculate veils. From where she emerges in spring, glowing her lush green bright stars, tall, straight, graceful in her picturesque poise, elegant in her season's costume design, beautiful in her efflorescent flowering, erotic limbs and flesh dancing the wind's breath, rustling her gold and scarlet hip scarf, coins her rhythm's chorus of leaves. How lovely she sways to wind's caress. Each season the symphonic strings sing her green floral patterns, igniting the gold, the orange, the red, deep purple stars, glittering her brilliance. Thanksgivings embracing her body, always in beauty, always serene, always carried in the wind's breath, guiding her through time and space. Joy and gratitude filling her void where she once danced effortlessly, like leaves twirling in wind, swept away. Thank you very much.